Man, hold on. I'm straight. Yeah, I should be straight. Man, this episode of SmackDown was absolutely just like was good. It was a good episode. It sounded like I was about to go say it was great to amazing, but no, it was. I want to say it was great. But it wasn't bad or okay. It was definitely a good episode, which is a change of pace for SmackDown to where the last couple of SmackDowns been okay to meh. This was actually a good episode. Like, I enjoyed this episode. Though the reason there was a couple of things that could have made it great, and here's what. The first thing that I didn't like about it is the way how they started it. So, getting into the review for Friday Night SmackDown, they started off with a recap of SummerSlam, which is what they do. So I give it a pass because that's what they do. They after a pay per view, both Monday and Friday they recap it. So okay. But even though I enjoyed it somewhat, it just ran a little long. And that's what, after the recap, they start off with they started talking about the events, and they had a long, basically you could say drawn out Pat McAfee promo where he was like, he used like the football thing, and he kept like replaying, trying to show how things came about using the pin to circle it and all that type of stuff, how they do in basketball and football. And that segment just ran a little bit too long. Otherwise, it was a good segment. But that segment led into a backstage confrontation between Baron Corbin and Ricochet, where Baron Corbin basically mad that Ricochet was laughing at him, challenged him to a match, telling him he would shut him up. And he said, "You know what? Me and my smiling face and will be in the ring, and you could come out there and prove it." And basically, that's how they kicked off Monday Night Raw match-wise, which was Ricochet versus Baron Corbin, and the match was okay. It got some decent time. It was it the best way to start off Friday Night SmackDown. Nah, it's definitely been better ways, but it wasn't the worst, and it wasn't the worst. It wasn't bad. It was just like. The things they could have done. I just see like different ways they could have done it better or have a better way to open up the show. But either way, it wasn't a bad way. I'll put it that way. It just wasn't the best, but it was okay or good. Ricochet did end up getting a victory here in a pretty good, like I said, in a pretty good stellar match. It looked like, I don't know, it looked like they still got the Pat McAfee and Baron Corbin feud going though, because like basically throughout the match, the reason why Baron Corbin lost because he kept being distracted by the fact that he still, like, I guess he hates Pat McAfee. But we would get into the which they advertised was I think they either advertised the Live promo or the Gauntlet match next, but we didn't even get there. We ended up getting Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ludwig, which is one of the many things I didn't. There's another thing I didn't like about the show was that we got like the rubber match, as you will, like, you know, just the third match in a row where, you know, Shinsuke won the first, Ludwig won the second with Gunther's help. But this time, this match was if Shinsuke Nakamura beat Ludwig, he would get to face Gunther, I think, next week for the Intercontinental Championship. And this match was also pretty good. It wasn't bad. It was pretty good. Shinsuke Nakamura and Ludwig Gunther didn't interfere this time. Ludwig and Shinsuke, they did their thing. You know, had some good spots. You know, a reversal of the Sinkaska. You know, it looked like, you know, a couple times it looked like Ludwig almost had the victory, but Shinsuke ended up pulling out the victory. And now he got an Intercontinental Championship match against Gunther. The only thing I think that would have put the icing on it was because that it was a loss to him for Shinsuke to get the Intercontinental Championship. Ludwig, we didn't get to see like Gunther punish Ludwig for it, but hey, they had other stuff to get to, and then we got to the Liv promo, which is one of the things that I guess just a talk. You could say the talk of the town a little bit. Not a lot, but because there's something else that happened in the show that's really the talk of the town. But what's so talk about this is the booking of Liv Morgan. And in this promo, you felt it. You know, it could be a simple fact that this was just another time. This was just a town where people were not high on Liv Morgan. Okay, that could be that. Or it could be people are mad about the booking of Liv Morgan. And for what I've been seeing on the internet and stuff, people are basically saying that Liv Morgan is a baby. It's not about her being, the champion or her being a baby face. Is that they booked her. They are booking her weak, and they making you want to boo her because they're not booking her like a strong baby face. They booking her like a weak baby face that's about to turn heel. And what I've been seeing is people saying, like, look at the fact that both of her wins over Ronda was not clean wins. The win that when she cashed in to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. She used the Money in the Bank briefcase to cash in to win the championship. And they saying, well, that was kind of not a babyface thing, but we could give it a pass. We give it a pass. She did do a roll up pin on her, but she was also injured. So it was like, but they kind of gave her a pass. But they said then they booked it almost exactly the same way this at SummerSlam, because they said having her basically pin Ronda the way she pinned Ronda and then tap out. They were saying that's not a babyface thing. Baby faces are not supposed to tap out. They're supposed to like withstand the pain. They was like what they should have did was basically like had her pin Ronda and withstood the pain, and then or at least tap out after the 3 count. But they had her tap out before the 3 count, created controversial ending and all this type of stuff, and it just made her look weak. So the reason why I say all this is because in this promo, when Liv basically was trying to talk about what happened at SummerSlam, the crowd booed her, and they booed her like hard. Like they cheered for her as she came out, but then once they start talking about SummerSlam, she got booed, and they chanted the chant they usually chant at the heels. You tapped out to Liv Morgan, and what I did like for Liv Morgan, she was like, "It's okay. I appreciate y'all calling me out on my, because it looked like she said because it was, and I was like, oh wait, did she really just say it? And it was confirmed that she did. That's why they bleeped it or just cut the sound on, because she really did say the S word. And according to the way how it works, you can't say the S word on. You only can say. I think you could get away with it when it's on cable television, but not on where the Fox television is. But she basically tried to talk about how she was going to get ready. They was going to be different, and that she would be ready for Ronda, but she would get interrupted by Sonya Deville, who basically taunted her about the fact that she got basically ragdolled throughout the match and beat up throughout the match, and that she pretty much is a failure, and she did tap out, and that she's going to, when she win the gauntlet match, she's going to beat her and become the new SmackDown Women's Champion. And speaking of which, that promo transitioned to the third match of the night, which was the gauntlet match to determine Liv Morgan's next challenger, since Ronda Rousey is suspended. And that it was the match consisted of the participants consisted of Sonya Deville, Aaliyah, Raquel Gonzalez, Natalya, and Shayna Baszler. Oh, and Isaiah Lee. And it was a good match. It was very good. At least I enjoyed it. Some might say it wasn't the best if they are saying it, but I'm saying it, to my opinion, it was a good match. It allowed the women to get SmackDown to get some showing. Though we're missing Lacey Evans. Though I think they said Lacey Evans got an injury. But yeah, Aaliyah would interrupt Sonya Deville to start the gauntlet, which was Aaliyah and Sonya. Sonya would beat Aaliyah to go up against Raquel Gonzalez, and Raquel would beat Sonya Deville to go up against Sansi. Oh yeah, Sansi Blackheart was also a part of it. I forgot. I meant to say she was a part of it too, but she would get beat by Raquel as well. And Raquel would go on to fight Xia Li, who also fell to Raquel. At this point, Raquel is running the gauntlet. Raquel would go up against Natalya, which she would beat Natalya. And then the run came to an end when she went up against Shayna Baszler. And Shayna Baszler would end up picking up a victory, a roll-up pin victory over Raquel, and she will now go on to face Liv Morgan at Clash at the Castle. That's when she would be defending the title next. I don't know how this is going to go for Liv. I don't want her to. My problem with, like I said this in my SummerSlam review, my problem with the way they booked her was that it did make her look weak. And she needed a clean victory, over Ronda. Ronda didn't need protection. Ronda's going to be Ronda. She's going, whether she loses or wins, she's still going to be the hottest attraction. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt her. It's not going to make her seem like people don't care about it. No, Ronda is Ronda. Ronda could afford to they could afford to have her roll up pin Ronda again. At least let it be clean, without controversy. She can't get her signature, it ain't working and stuff, so she just rolled up pinned her, and that would have been great. At least she got a clean victory. Because we're not expecting her. Realistically, yes, you don't expect someone like Liv Morgan to be able to beat Ronda Rousey, but this is wrestling, so you can make it happen that Liv could beat Ronda. It was just the fact that you're booking her so weak that you already seem like y'all seem like y'all already want her to turn heel, or you're giving up on her already and setting the stages for her to lose. And it didn't get even better, because then you went from giving her Ronda to Shayna, and though maybe Shayna not on Ronda's level, Shayna is still not a person that Liv could believably beat. So therefore, it's still the same problem, but now the problem is you have to, if you guys recognize it, this time do not book her to be weak, to win weak. Either book her to lose and lose strong, or book her to win and win strong, or win, credibly. Don't have to be controversial. But then we get to the next match, which is the Viking Raiders versus some local competitors, which the Viking Raiders run. I'm not even about to break that all down. The Viking Raiders basically won that, but it was what happened afterwards with Kofi Kingston, who had a promo backstage earlier saying that gave an update on Xavier Woods. But he said without Big E and Xavier, he's still going to get payback on the Viking Raiders. And that's what happened after the match. He came and beat both Eric and Ivar with a kendo stick. And during commercial break, we come back and find out that a match got made for a singles match of Kofi Kingston versus Eric, which was an okay match with Kofi Kingston getting a victory. It's nice seeing Kofi Kingston getting a victory. It's nice to see him look good after the fact of being world champion and then getting pushed back to mid-card. We got a mini promo about the women's tag team tournament that will be starting on Monday, basically confirming that that Monday would kick off this tournament, and that we don't know the participants is yet, but it's rumored that it's going to have participants with both Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, with the return of Sasha Banks and Naomi. Then we got the closing moments of the show, which is the Bloodline promo. And I love their story throughout the day with Sami Zayn trying to talk to Roman, but they kept giving him the runaround. And I forgot to talk about that too, was that Jay yelled at Sammy and told him to pull his weight. That if he want to be a part of the bloodline, basically telling him you want to be part of the bloodline, you got to pull your weight and win some championship gold because everybody in the bloodline got championships except for you. And he threatened him that if he don't start pulling his weight, he gonna end up they gonna end up making him take off that shirt real soon. But then we got the bloodline promo that this was supposed to be about Roman coming out to address Drew McIntyre. He talked about Brock Lesnar. So, we did the whole acknowledgement thing. And then he talked about Brock Lesnar, saying that he hate Brock Lesnar, but he do respect him. And then when he was getting ready to talk about Drew, Drew McIntyre came out, interrupting him, and basically told him that he said, I know if I wouldn't have came out here, you would have talked until we would have to go off the air. So he said, with that, enough all the talk. If y'all want to see me get my hands on Roman Reigns, then let me hear it. In the crowd basically chanted for him to do. So he took off his shirt and basically was getting ready to attack. But the biggest thing of tonight, the way how they wanted to end tonight, with the end to make you want to see what's coming next, we got another return. This return is somebody who was also like Dakota Kai was heavily rumored that now that Triple H is back in charge to return, or possibly could return, and we already see it proven with Dakota Kai. Now, Karrion Kross is back in WWE, and he came back to beat up Drew McIntyre. And no, it was not to be on Roman Reigns' side, on the side of the bloodline. He beat up Drew McIntyre to prove a point that he also. And him and Scarlett basically did the whole, and this is like everybody been said, this is NXT Karrion Kross, complete with Scarlett and the hourglass, and he basically put the hourglass in the ring, turned it and told Roman Reigns, tick tock. While Roman Reigns, he sat there just like this, it was just like, who is this guy? Like, but yeah. So it seems, from what I hear, it seems like impossibly that the match at Clash of the Champions is going to get changed from a singles match to a triple threat. And they said from Wrestle Talk and other places, they said it's also going to be rumored that it might be for one of the titles, as USA Network wants Raw to have a main title again. So, I didn't know that USA was really involved like that, but apparently they're asking for a change up, or I guess they said interim, from what I was hearing the word interim champion, some type. They basically want the world championship, or no matter if it's the Universal or the WWE championship, back on Monday Night Raw. And that Karrion Kross could be the person to take that title off of Roman Reigns back to Monday Night Raw. But that would be weird if that'd be weird if it's not for both titles. Because if you're gonna do it like that, you gotta have Roman fight 2 times in a row, because you gotta have him defend both titles. But it is what it is. You let me know in the comments down below what you thought. I give this episode I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for that Karrion Kross return. There was some things I didn't like, but the show was mostly good and structured good. It was a good storytelling, good wrestling. Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, aside from a few things, it wasn't bad enough to be demoted lower than an 8. So yeah, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. You let me know in the comments down below what you thought. And if you enjoyed the video, you hit this button right there in the upper right corner for all of my WWE reviews. And if you enjoyed the video so much you want to support the channel, you hit those buttons. And as always, hit any one of these videos for more of my amazing content. But don't go anywhere, because I got gameplay and some reactions coming your way. Peace.